All right, I just need to get this up on my iPad. There we go. All right. So we're going to zoom down a little bit if you can. Good afternoon, everybody. How's everyone doing? I'm just going to get myself situated. There we go. That's a pretty good shot, I think, right there. I think you're going to be able to see everything. How are you doing, Teresa? How are you feeling? Any better? I hope so. It's been over a week. So we're going to make some crafty cards today. We're going to do some pretty things. We're going to have some fun. I'm super excited. Kind of really had my mojo going today. Hi, Diane. How are you? Just waiting for the gang to come in. I'm still positive, and so is my mom. Are you serious? You guys must really got it bad. Wow. Hey, Helen. All right. Well, all I can say, Teresa, is I hope tomorrow's a better day for you. I know one of my other customers was really sick with COVID, and hi, Jeannie. I think she tested positive for like 10 days. And then all of a sudden the next day she tested negative. So, sorry, excuse me. The air quality today is really bad. So if I'm coughing, I apologize. My asthma's been acting up because of the air quality. We're doing great. We're getting a little bit of rain up here today. So things are, going to be wet tonight, I hope. And yeah, so we're going to make this pretty card that's in front of me. And I have a few other samples to show you. But one thing, make sure that you like and comment in the video as we do on all of our demos. And then you will be entered in to win the card that we create today. And I'll do the draw tomorrow at end of day. Okay. The other thing, I was supposed to have an order today. It's been held up. FedEx is backlogged, so I don't know where that's going. Yeah, so anyway, we're just going to make pretty things today and have a good time. So I don't know if any of you have ever made a tunnel card, but this is a tunnel card. And the reason that it's called a tunnel card, sorry, I'm out of screen. I think I'm a little too close to the edge of the table. I think it's my problem. There we go. Yeah, zoom out just a little tidge. I got to find my place. There's always a delay with the iPad, so it's never, like, you're never 100% sure if you're in screen. There we go. Okay, so I'm not sure if you've made a tunnel card before, but this is a tunnel card. And then I've done a little extra something inside. And this is the one that we are going to recreate today. But I have 3 more samples to show you. I am totally addicted to these tunnel cards. Hi, Tina. Hey, Brenda. So when you open this beautiful tunnel card, it is going to have a shape on the inside. And then I have decided to hang a little ornament on the inside. Now it's a little hard to show you how it looks when it's seated, but I am going to post all the photos. So the little ornament just kind of sits, and when it's sat on the table, when you gift it, it's a little tunnel down in the side here. Oh, great, we're under severe thunderstorm watch. So we're gonna go quick. Hey, Carolyn, how are you? Thank you. So this is the Christmas one, hi Donna, that we're gonna recreate today using a little wood tree ornament. And we're gonna recreate this using the circle die. So now I want to, and the other thing I want to stipulate right off the get-go is I am using found paper. So my pattern paper is a piece of leftover Christmas paper from Prima Marketing that I used in a workshop 4 years ago. So I'm trying to go through and use all of my old paper. And of course, anything with a deer, you guys know I'm on it. So that's what we are going to do. But let me show you. So my next card that I created was this blue one with the heart on it. And I used Heartfelt Creations Classic Sunflower. And I wanted to make them blue. just to go with the paper. So I did them blue. I used Faded Jeans as well as Vintage Photo for the inside. And then this is the heart shape that is on the inside of this one. Hi, Terry. How are Angie? Oh my gosh, I called you Terry again. I'm so sorry, Angie. Yay, I'm glad. So you can recreate this because I'm going to give you a complete walkthrough on how to create these cards. So this is the heart card. And then it has the heart that I cut out of the center. I use that on the front. And then I cut out a little a next size one. And then, of course, I decorated it with Heartfelt Creations Classic Sunflower. And then, of course, I've got some pink fresh bling on there. I've done my crazy little bow. My sentiment is from the Crafters Workshop. So, yeah, so I had fun with this one. Now, my next one, because, you know, once you get started, you're done, right? So this one... I love this one. So it's fall, it's my colors. My niece's birthday is coming up in October, and I think this would be perfect for Maya. She's a very earthy girl. She loves oranges and, you know, all the bright colors like that. So this one has a square on the inside, and then what I did was I used the square that I cut out. I scored it diagonally and I set it behind inside of my cutout so that it looks like a diamond inside. So it's so pretty to be able to create these cards. And there's a couple things I'm going to give you some key notes here in a second, but I just wanted you to drool over these cards. So again, these are just found papers, found flowers. I think these gold things were from a Frank Garcia class that I took. Prima flowers. The rest are pink fresh bling. They're so, and these are so easy, Teresa. You're gonna make a million of these, I promise. And then the last one that I made today, again, I'm using found paper, and this one was done in the oval. So I actually fussy cut some of the butterflies from a scrap piece of paper so that they're 3D. You can kind of see them sat up their little wings. This little guy's trying to fly away. So this is the oval one. And then on the inside of this one, I actually have cut out some butterflies that are hanging on the inside of my oval. Okay. So these are so easy to create. It is just crazy. I did 3 of these cards today alone, just today. And then I did another one that I'm going to show you next week. So this is the oval. So the point of this is it doesn't matter if you use an oval, a round, a diamond, a heart shape. It doesn't matter. You can just use whatever dies you have and cut out the center, okay? So those are my little show-offs that I did today. Absolutely love them. Now, for the card that we're using today, I'm actually going to be using, oh, thank you. Yes, Carolyn, I can't wait to see. I think the last time you did mine, you did like 30 or 50 of them. So for my die for this card, which is the circle card, I'm going to be using the Eyelet Circle and Basic Small from Heartfelt Creation, and I am using the 3rd smallest, okay? So it is the 3x3, so this is the die that I'm using, and this is going to create my circle, so I'm going to leave this out. Now, you're obviously going to need some pretty paper. Now, one thing that I want to tell you, if you have pretty paper that is beautiful on both sides or that are complementary, you only need 1 sheet of 12 by 12. Okay, so I'm going to say this again. If your pattern paper is beautiful print on the back and say a beautiful plaid on the back, you just need 1 piece. But if your paper is like this one, where you don't want this to be on your card because this is meant to be cut apart for journal cards, you're going to need 2 pieces of pattern paper. Okay, so it all depends on the piece of paper that you pick as to whether your A and B are compatible and will work together. Because sometimes they'll have something really horrible on the back, but this is beautiful. So that's when you're going to find another piece of paper from your stash and bring in the second one. Okay, so on this card, this is 1 sheet of paper because the plaid is on the B side and the flower is on the A side. Okay, so the card we're recreating today, I've had to use 2 pieces. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut 2 pieces, 5.5 by 8.5. Simple measurements, nothing crazy. I'm just going to set this out of the side. Now I've gone ahead and already cut mine just to save on time because I know it's supper time. So our pieces are 5.5 inches wide or high by 8.5 long. Okay, now you do want to make sure that your pattern is going the correct way. You want to, you wouldn't want it to be upside down if you're doing a plaid or a stripe. If it's something that has to be in a specific orientation, you have to make sure that it is like that when you first get started. Okay, so we are going to use this pretty paper as what I'm going to call our tunnel paper. So when I'm referring to the tunnel paper, I mean the inside pretty piece. Now you're going to have some extra pieces left from your 12 by 12, and you're going to want to hang on to these 2 pieces. This pretty piece is going to create our tag on the front of our card, and our coordinating paper is going to create the belly band. So don't throw these out, you're going to need these. Okay, and again, it depends on what your image is as to where you would want to cut, what graphics you want in your card. So the first thing that we're going to get started is we're going to do our card base. So with this card base, I'm going to use the green, I'm going to use the floral on the outside of my card, and I'm going to use this little diamond type thing on the inside. And what we want to do is we want to make our card base. So I'm just going to bring in my scoring board. Now you're going to lay your card 8.5 across the top, and you're going to score this at 4 1/4. And this is going to create an A2 size card. So you're just going to score at 4 1/4 across the 8.5. Okay, then you're going to fold it, and you always want to score your paper on the good side facing up, because what it does is when you score it, you actually break the fibers in the paper. So when you go to score and crease it, it's going to bend and not crack on you. It's very, very important. Okay, and then we're just going to do a really nice crease, nice and firm. We want our card to stand upright. We don't want it to be all falling over and all wishy-washy. Then we're going to bring back our tunnel piece of paper with our 8.5 across the top of the scoreboard. You are going to score at 2 1/8. We all know where 2 1/8 is, okay? So you're going to score at 2 1/8. You're going to score again at 4 1/4. And this 4 1/4 is going to be the center of our card. And then you're going to score again at 6 3/8. So you're just going to count over 3 notches, and there's your 6 3/8. Okay? And that is all the scoring that we're going to be doing. Now, one thing that you want to do right from the beginning is you want to fold your 4 1/4. So basically, you're just folding it in half with your tunnel side of your imaged paper on the top side, and you're going to crease it. Don't worry about the other score lines yet. We just want to focus on this one. Just a little bit. So I have a little trick for you. When you're working with a really busy pattern, it is really hard to find your score lines. So the easiest way that you can do this, because we're going to be laying our die in the center of our card, and we want to keep it between our two score lines, okay? So the easiest way to do that, hi Heather, hey Lynn. So what I like to do is I will just have my creased edge on my table, and I'm just going to take my pencil and I'm just going to lightly run it along my folded edge. And all that does is gives me a little highlighted area without a huge pencil mark, okay? And then we can go ahead and fold and crease our other two score lines. Now our first score line is going to be a valley, so we're going to fold that up. And then we're going to crease it really well. We want nice sharp edges. Okay, we already have our mountain because we just did that one. And then now we're going to turn it and we're going to do a valley again. And we're going to crease it. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. Just like that. Okay, so we have a valley, we have a mountain, and we have a valley. So now what I'm going to do is I can see where my creases are. Now I'm going to take my circle or whatever die that I'm using. Oh, thanks, Lynn. Yes, they have beautiful little flowers on them. They're so pretty. So we're going to find the half of our circle and the half of the, between the top and the bottom of our card. We want our die to be exactly center as best we can. Okay, and I'm just using some painter's tape to hold that in place. Now, before I go ahead and cut this, I just want to talk to you for a second. You guys all know how much I've been loving my Pro Decks. I am well over 400 cuts on, I've actually stopped counting now. I'm over 400 cuts. Now, this is my original plate. Hopefully you can see how amazing it is. After 400 cuts, I am getting a little tiny bit of a bow, so I am going to take it in and soak it in some hot water. But you can't even see any of the marks on my platform. So this is the Pro Deck. And I am absolutely, absolutely in love with this, okay? So there is like next to no marks on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to step out of view and run this through my Vagabond, just so that you guys don't have to see and hear me do that. So I'm just going to set this down on top of my platform. And I'm going to put my top plate to complete my sandwich and have a sip of your coffee. I'm just going to run this through my Vagabond. Okay. So here is my cut circle. I'm just going to be careful taking this off. I do find that sometimes the painter's tape does stick. And of course there is a magnetic platform, but I opted just to have the Pro Deck instead. So if you would like to not have to deal with the paint, you can definitely have the magnetic die. So now this is the centerpiece that has been cut out. You can save this, or you could even incorporate it on the front of your card. Yeah, I use washi tape as well. Sometimes I'll do painters, sometimes I'll do whichever I have handy. Hi Cindy, how are you? So I'm not going to use this, so I'm going to set it aside in my stash, and eventually I'll pull it out to use it on something else. So this is now going to be the inside of our tunnel card. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take a second and ink up my edges, because I know how annoying it is to sit and watch somebody do this. but I wanted to do all the steps with you so that you can recreate a million of these. I am using Rustic Wilderness as my green ink. It is my new favorite. I literally have been using it on everything. Now I'm also going to do the center part of my crease because I want it to really kind of show as well. And then I actually did really well. I got that pretty centered. And then I'm just going to do the inside of my circle because I want a lot of definition on everything so that you can really see, make the hole stand out. It's going to help with the background as well. I'm not going to do the valley creases. And then of course we have to do our card. I'll just do it really quick on the outside. I'm not even sure where this paper is from, but it is just lovely to work with. It's a really nice thick cardstock. You could definitely do a regular white or cream cardstock base. Doesn't have to be patterned. It can be whatever you decided for it to be. Now, one thing I will say, if you are going to attach anything on the inside of your tunnel, you want to make sure you do it now. You don't want to wait until later because it's too hard to try to get your hand inside the top. And take that from a person that I decided after I made the card that I wanted this little tree in there and then had to figure out how I could get down in there with my hands. So I have these cute little trees that I got. I don't know where. I think they're probably from Dollarama or something. And that's what I'm going to use on this one. So I'm just going to cut a small piece of twine. You don't need a lot. And I'm going to thread it through. And I'm just, now you could paint this. You could put some sparkle on it, which I might do. We can do all kinds of things. So I will say the one thing with my butterfly card, I used fishing line, and I don't find it's, I know it's really hard to see. You can see it on my finger here. I don't find that it's like it's not flexible enough. It doesn't allow the butterflies to kind of float. It's a little rigid. So I'm not 100% sure that I would use fishing line again. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up my two tails of my twine, kind of figure out how low. You might want it down a little further than what I have it. And then I'm just going to use a small piece of score tape. You want to make sure that your tails are really close together and right on the score line. And then we're just going to secure them. You could use Scotch tape. You could use anything. It doesn't have to be score tape. I'm going to use score tape just because we're not taking off the backing. Okay. So now, as you can see, we now have our ornament already hanging. And then I'll add a bow to that in a second. So now for the assembly of the card, it is super, super easy. So all we're going to do is open out the card, figure out which side you want. Actually, I inked the wrong side, so this one's going to have a little bit different on the inside. So let me just ink the inside of this. I think I hear thunder rumbling. So whoever's going to win this card, it will not look exactly the same as mine because I turned the paper the other way. But that's okay. It still looks super pretty like that. Or we could go like this, but then you see that ugly line. So we're not going to. All right. All we're going to do, we're going to use our Dries Clear. And we are just going to secure starting on the left side. Again, I'm going to start on the left. You don't have to start on the left. Put on some Dries Clear. I am now just going to line up all my edges because my two pieces of paper are the exact same size. Okay, so the exact same size. You just got a card from me, sister. And then we're just going to do a nice crease. Make sure that this is all really pretty and down secure. We're going to fold this piece back. Add some Dries Clear to the back. I would not use score tape on this. It's not under that much stress that I feel it needs score tape. And then all you have to do is just bend this and get these lined up nice and even on all of your edges. And you're only applying the glue to your first score line. So just give it a nice crease. And then don't forget, as I always say, whenever you're working with Dries Clear, always have a dry baby wipe. And then this way, if any glue leaks out, you can just wipe it off and it's going to dry clear. So now when we fold our card together, I'm just going to give this an extra little crease. So there is our tunnel card. Isn't that easy? Oh my gosh. So I was thinking today that, you know, because I just couldn't stop on one, I was thinking today, wouldn't it be really cool too? You could put a photo in here. You could make like a little mock thing at the back that would make the photo sit upright. The only problem is that it's going to crease in the center. And that would be my only problem with putting a photo in there. But I thought if we could do that, it would be awesome, right? So there is the inside of our card. So what I'm going to do so I don't forget is I'm just going to take a nanosecond and create a little bow that we're going to hang on the top of our tree. And you can make the tails as long or short as you like. And you could use a snowflake. You could do an ornament if you had like from those mini ornament tree things. Now I'm going to use my hot glue gun if it's hot enough, which it is, and I should not have done that. I'm just going to put a little dab of glue right there. And then I'm just going to put my bow on and let that dry for a second. Yes, you guys, I can just see our creative space being flooded with images of the cards that you've created. Now, this is a regular A2 card, okay? So this is just your standard card in your standard envelope. You could do even more on the inside. I'm just going to keep it somewhat simple right now. And on my card, when I gift this, I'm going to write my sentiment and, you know, the to and from and Merry Christmas on the back side of my card. I'm not going to bother doing anything on the inside because I want the inside as the focal point, not the writing. All right, so there is the front of our card. Now, with our piece that we had left over from the card base, I have already gone ahead and cut a little belly band. Now this belly band is only for show, sort of, kind of. It's it can be used as a proper belly band. On this card, because I opted to put a tag on the front, the back photo mat doesn't actually move. Okay, so, but you could use a photo in here. You could still have your pretty sentiment and your tag on the front. And then when you gift this, say, to grandma or grandpa or an aunt and uncle, they could then have the child's photo or your family photo, and they can take this out. When they take this out, they still have a pretty sentiment on the front of the card. So the photo in here can come out of the belly band. You still have the pretty tag on the front, or if you're like me, I don't do photos a lot, so I'm just going to have a pretty tag. So for our tag, we are going to cut our tag. Actually, no, we're going to do our belly band first. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. We are going to make a belly band that is 1 inch wide by 4 3/4. And we are going to score 1/4 inch on each end. Okay, so easy peasy little scoring. Actually, I'm going to grab my small scoreboard. That big one just takes up too much room. All right, so I am just going to score this at 1/4 inch on both ends. And what this does is this allows us space to slide things in. So when we fold this back, we get this little tab. Okay, and then you're going to want to crease it. Now, one thing that I have been in the habit of doing since I've been creating albums and page pockets and that kind of thing, I'm going to show you on another piece of cardstock. So this is my little sample. So I've already scored this and folded this back. Now, if this was my belly band, I don't know about you, but I do not want to see this at the back. This to me is unattractive. I don't care at the bottom because I'm not likely to look at the bottom of the card. I don't like the top. So what I do on all of mine is I just nick off each of the sides up to my score line. So now when this gets folded back, you don't see that. Okay? So you don't see that ugly little square up at the top. And again, you're going through all the trouble, all the hassle of making all these beautiful cards. One little simple nanosecond of a thing is going to take your card and just make it so much better, okay? So when we do our belly band, always just nick off the one end. You don't have to do both. And you don't have to cut a lot, like just enough. And then we are going to ink our edges because we want this to stand out. So again, I'm just going to ink with my Rustic Wilderness. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this onto my card front, to the card front of the card, the base of the card. I'm speaking every language but English right now. I'm just going to use some Dries Clear on my flaps. And I'm just going to find what I think might be center. If you like to have things a little off and not on center, you don't have to have it exact. I'm going to try to do my best. Give it a little crease here just to make sure that it stays. I've got a little bit of glue coming out my one end. So with my baby wipe, I'm just going to wipe that off. Okay. So now there's my belly band. So now I can slide a photo in here. I can put anything that I want in here. So when I originally created this, I had the intention of putting a photo in the back and then having the sentiment on the front. I gift the card, the person can take the photo out, and then they still have a pretty tag on the front. Of course, it morphed into something totally different, as most of my projects do when I first get started, and how it ends is usually different. So with your piece of paper that you cut off from your first cut, you are going to make a tag or use a photo that is 3.5 by 4.5. Now this should already be 3.5, which it is, and then we're going to make it 4.5. So find out where on your photo or on your piece of paper what you can afford to lose that isn't going to hurt your feelings. And then you're going to trim that to 4.5. So I don't care about the rows down here. I'm more interested in the pretty red. So I'm going to put this in at 4.5, and I'm going to chop that off. And now there is my photo mat that is going to slide underneath here. So again, because I ink everything, because I really like the definition, Donna, you will love this. This is so easy. And again, you can go back and watch the replay, save it in your file, and then you don't have to go searching for it. Once the video is live tonight or tomorrow, I will have the ability to actually put a title on the video. So the title for this video is going to be called the Tunnel Card. So if you do need to go back, just look for the Tunnel Card video. Now, the one thing also, I like to use the Stub and Scallop corner punch. You could use a rounder, you could use a concave, which is what the stub is. The scallop also offers you something that's really pretty. So I'm going to use the stub, and I'll show you what it looks like. So you're just going to set it down in here, and then hopefully you can see, if I put it against this white or this green piece, you can see the concave corner, and this is called the stub on this particular corner punch. Okay, so that is the one I'm going to use. It is my personal favorite. I will show you what the scallop looks like as well. So the scallop is going to give you this edge if you want to use the scallop. And I'm one of these people that I don't do corner punches on all of my corners. I usually, because you want it just to have an impact and a little bit of interest. You don't want it to be, oh yeah, she did that again. So this way, what I like to do is I like to only punch one corner. Okay, go back and ink it. So now you can see a little bit of interest on my tag. Always make sure when you do use your corner chomper that you close the wings nice and tight because you don't want these to get broken. And then what we're going to do is we are going to just lay this down, put a little bit of glue on the back, and figure out exactly where we want this. And if you notice, I don't go to the edges of my tag, and there's a reason for that. So once I get this in here, I want mine to be on a little bit of an angle because, well, just because. So I'm going to press this down, and then what I'm going to do is you can use tweezers if you want, or you can use your fingers. You're just going to take the one corner that you kind of notched, and you're just going to rough it up a little bit so that it kind of looks like the paper's been worn and torn, and it's a little vintage. So you can do all of them. You could, you know, not do it at all if you don't like that look. You want it just to look a little, you know, not so crazy. But I just find Christmas is an opportunity to do a little bit of some gaudy, you know, foil and stuff like that, but also to make things look vintage, like old time Santa. So this is what I'm going to do. So my corners are loose. None of them are secured down. They're not under stress. No one's going to pick them. No one's going to do anything. They're not going to fall off. So they're perfectly safe like that. Now, I found a little deer that I liked on my piece of paper that I had here. So I wasted a whole piece of paper just to get this deer. And he is going to be my sentiment. Now, I don't want to have my notched corner on the same side. So to add interest as a visual, I'm going to do the opposite the right top corner. And I'm just going to do my stub again, set this down in, and I'm going to nick off my corner. And I'm going to ink this. So once it gets inked, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. And the gold foil on this is just stunning. Okay, and then be a little rough with your paper. This is vintage Christmas. This isn't meant to be pristine Martha Stewart stuff. Okay, and then what I did was I decided that I was going to mat this to help it pop off of my card base, which I think it really needed. Now you can notch the corner on your background tag as well, and all I did was I made this tag just a little larger. So my main tag is 3 by 3, and then I did 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 for my background. Now for this one, I'm not going to notch the corner just to show you the difference and see which it is that you guys might like better for yourself. Now I'm just going to glue this straight on to my mat, and then we will pop it onto our belly band. I'm seated, so I can't promise you this is 100% straight. Okay. So now that that is glued on there, this, my baby wipe has got fuzzies all over my pen. All right. So now I'm going to pop this on top of this because I want to make sure that if this is a photo at the back, they have the ability to pull the photo out and that it isn't stuck down, okay? So I'm just going to put a couple pop dots right on my belly band, not on the back of my mat, because it could be in the wrong place by the time I put it down. So just do a little bit of CPR on these and then pick them off, and they come right off for you. Even with gel on your nails, they still turn out really well. And I'm not going to put my Dries Clear on here because I know that it's not going anywhere. Hey, Rose. Oh, not a worry. You have to make this card. It's going to be fabulous. And then you can see the other ones I made. So you want to try to center this. And I know it's going to be a little awkward just because our background isn't straight. But now having this popped on here, it also gives you the ability that if you were to put a photo or something else underneath the belly band, the person can remove it, okay? And yet it is secure. If you know for sure you're not going to, you could always put an extra pop on it. So if you want to just put a pop underneath here. Hi, Melissa. How are you, love? And then we can just secure this at the corner, okay? So far we have our tunnel card with our ornament on the inside with our circle, and then we can close it, and we're starting to finish the outside. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to make a crazy bow. That is the official lingo of Leanne's Bows. Now I'm going to make quite a large one because I do have a substantial area. Could I have a couple of the other cards? This one I did a much smaller bow because I didn't have quite the same amount of area. So I didn't want it to outdo the butterflies. And then on this one, my crazy bow is kind of behind my flowers. So I wanted it to be a little larger so that you could actually see the twine. And then this one is about a medium size, I would think, to help curve the heart and give a little bit of detail as it's coming down the tail of the flower bouquet. Okay. So you guys have seen me do this. All I'm going to do is I'm going to have a nice tail that's hung back here underneath my two fingers like this. And then I'm just going to start, I have to let go of it. And I'm just going to start making loops and kind of use my other ring finger to help to loop this across. You always want to have one on the left and one on the right. Okay. Yeah, Teresa, they are so easy. And I'm going to, I'm not sure if it's going to be next week, but I have a card already designed. And I'm going to show you how to make some of the poinsettias from scratch with the heartfelt. So once you have your bows, you just kind of cut another piece, doesn't matter how long it is, and you just wrap it around. I usually can just do this on my own. I don't even need anyone to help me usually. So once you get your little knot pulled in, don't secure your inside knot too much until it's center. And then just do a little double knot. And that's as crazy easy as it is to make these bows. And that's why I call them crazy bows. And then if you want them, you can have them all different sizes of the tails. Make sure that you remember how I always tell you to pull the tails. Put your thumb and your index finger in the middle of the bow. And then take your tails with your right hand or left, depending on which you are. And make sure that you pull nice and tight so that those tails come this way. That is the key to making a good bow. That and a glue gun. So now what we're going to do is we know that we want this little bow to be up here somewhere. And I'm not too worried that this is a little bit off my card. Eventually it's going to go down into the envelope quite well. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little dollop of hot glue right in the top corner. And then I'm just going to set my bow inside, kind of give it a little shimmy until I know it's, you know, secure in there. Oh, no worry, Laren. Oh my gosh. I hope you're feeling okay. Go rest. Go do what you need to do. You can replay this at any time. We're just making beautiful tunnel cards. Now the final part that we have to do, of course, is to add some bling because, you know, you got to have bling, right? Now, one other thing. On this original card, I did some stitching using a Spectrum Noir tri-blend marker and a ruler, and I just did some faux stitching. Now, I decided I didn't want to do it, and then I used my blending pen to remove it, and then I didn't like that, and it just kind of went south. So I'm not going to add them onto the card that I'm creating today. I just think that it isn't necessary. If you wanted to add the faux stitches, the best way to do that is all you're going to do is take a nice metal ruler. So if you have your metal ruler that you can press down, which I'm going to grab mine because I forgot to grab mine. Let me just get it here. Okay. I always go to my old one that is my standard, you know. So with this ruler, as I'm always touting this because it's so flippin' fabulous, once you have this where you want it, you press down on the center and now it's not going to move on you. So what we can do is we can then take our tri-blend marker and or whatever pen, a white pen, a jelly pen, whatever pen you have, and you can make some faux stitches. Now, these are handy, especially if you want to outline something. So if you wanted to do all along the edge of, say, a photo mat. So once you go and you get in a rhythm, it's really easy, okay? And then you can just go along this side, push down in the center so your ruler doesn't move. I'm trying to hold my pen so that you guys can see, and I think that's the problem. Okay, so now you can create some faux stitching all the way around your card base if you so wish. You could also just do, you know, some little curly cues. You could do anything you want just to add a little bit of extra detail around your card base if you feel maybe your pattern paper is not that much, or you feel you need a little something something. So the last thing we need to do is add some bling to this beautiful card. So I'm going to shake out some of my gold bling onto my tray and give it a little shimmy. And then of course I'm going to grab my jewel picker because I love my jewel picker. Now I'm one of these people that I do not ever put my glue to my bling. I put my bling to my glue. So find out where you want it, and I do everything in threes because it's my obsessive compulsive number. So I'm just going to put 3 bling, and I try to use 3 different sizes just to add some interest. Press these down. Hopefully you guys can see okay. I use 3 different sizes, and then we're going to put a couple down here. It's much easier to have the glue on your project and then you bring the bling to it, and instead of trying to get it onto the end of the bling. It's just so annoying. And there we are. And then make sure that you always put your tip back in, okay, so that this stays nice and sticky on the end. And then to avoid a mishap, you're just going to take your tray, put the long end in, and you're going to shake all of the bling inside, seal it up, and you're done. So this is our finished tunnel card. So we have a beautiful deer on the outside, okay, and then on the inside, we open it out to our hanging ornament. So again, you can do lots of different things with these, different shapes on the inside, just to refresh everything. This was the heart die from Heartfelt Creations, just because that's the only heart die I have. It doesn't really have anything to do with Heartfelt. And I used the Bubbles bling from Pink Fresh. And then on the inside of this one, I just left the heart in there. but you could definitely go ahead. You could, like I said, if we could figure out a way to put a photo in here, I think in the back somehow, it's the creasing thing. You could do that. Then this one, which is one of my personal favorites, this is just the square that I then turned into a diamond, because if you know me, you know I love diamonds. So this is this piece here is the cutout from in here, and I just turned it on its side and I secured it 2 under and 2 on top, and then creased it down the middle. So now it folds nice and even, and then I just made it into a really fall theme for my niece. And then this one is done with the ovals and the butterflies. And then I just fussy cut 3 little butterflies. And then on the inside, my butterflies hang on a piece of fishing line. And I think they would have been much better on a piece of twine. But it is what it is. And it's lovely just the way it is. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed making this beautiful card with me. Please make sure that you like the video and comment, and then you will be entered in to win the one that I just made, which is this one. And then you will have a beautiful card for your Christmas stash to gift this year or to keep it for yourself. So have a lovely evening. Thank you so much for sharing the last hour with me. I so appreciate it. I was hoping that I was going to be able to show you some product today, but it did not arrive. I'm hopeful for tomorrow. And then I know next week we have the switches and all those things coming. So I hope that you recreate these. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what you guys have created. So Carolyn, get busy, because I know you don't just do one. You're like 30 and 40. Get going. Use up your scraps. You only need 1 sheet of paper. Go back to the beginning. Watch the video again. If you have beautiful paper, 112 by 12, that is beautiful on both sides, like this one was done with 1 sheet of paper. This one was done with 1 sheet of paper. No, sorry, I lied. 2 sheets of paper for this one. This one was done with 1 sheet of paper. So the stripe and the butterfly. Okay, so if you do not have paper that is, cohesive together, grab another piece that's going to complement it, and then do 2 pieces. All the instructions are at the beginning of the video. So have fun and have a lovely evening. Take care, guys.